In the world of space exploration, we're taught that only a few nations hold the keys to the stars. NASA, with its billion-dollar budgets and legendary scientists, is often portrayed as untouchable. But what if one of the most promising space technologies didn't come from Houston or Silicon Valley at all? What if it came from a modest workshop thousands of miles away, built by someone no one was watching? This is the story of a Filipino invention so groundbreaking that it quietly disappeared from public view until whispers began to surface. What happened next left engineers stunned and raised questions no one wanted to answer. The story begins far from launch pads and clean rooms in a coastal city in the Philippines where power outages were common and resources were scarce. Here lived Mateo Reyes, a soft-spoken electrical engineer who never imagined his work would intersect with global space politics. Mateo wasn't famous, wealthy, or connected. He worked days repairing industrial equipment and spent nights experimenting with energy systems in his small garage. Friends thought his obsession with efficiency was strange, even pointless. But Mateo believed there was a better way to store and regulate energy, one that could survive extreme conditions most systems couldn't. Mateo's childhood shaped his thinking. Growing up during typhoons, he watched entire neighborhoods lose power for days. Batteries failed. Generators overheated. Systems designed in wealthy countries simply weren't built for harsh, unpredictable environments. That frustration stayed with him into adulthood. Instead of chasing flashy innovations, Mateo focused on resilience. He wanted to design an energy module that could self-regulate, adapt to temperature changes, and recover from damage without human intervention. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was practical. And slowly, piece by piece, something extraordinary began to take shape on his cluttered workbench. By his early 30s, Mateo had developed a prototype he called the Adaptive Resonant Energy Core. At first glance, it looked unimpressive, just a compact unit of layered materials and circuitry. But inside was a radical idea, a system that redistributed internal energy in real time, preventing overloads and failures even under extreme stress. Unlike conventional batteries, it didn't rely on a single storage method. It blended mechanical resonance, thermal balancing, and electrical feedback loops into one unified system. Mateo tested it relentlessly, exposing it to heat, vibration, and power surges that destroyed every standard alternative. The results shocked even him. His prototype didn't just survive harsh conditions. It thrived in them. Efficiency improved under stress instead of declining. Damage in one section triggered instant compensation in another. Mateo realized this wasn't just useful for disaster-prone regions on Earth. In theory, it could function in environments where maintenance was impossible, places like deep-sea stations or space. That realization scared him. Mateo knew he was operating far beyond his original intentions, and he had no idea what to do next with something this powerful. Encouraged by a former professor, Mateo submitted a technical paper to an international engineering conference. It wasn't flashy, and it didn't mention space at all. But buried in the data were performance metrics that caught the attention of several researchers abroad. Among them was a consultant who had previously worked with aerospace contractors in the United States. Emails followed, then video calls. For the first time, Mateo was asked questions not about feasibility, but about scalability, about zero-gravity performance, about radiation tolerance. He answered honestly. He hadn't tested those conditions yet, but mathematically, the system held. Months later, Mateo received an invitation that changed everything. He was asked to present his work at Closed Door Technology Forum in Singapore. Travel costs were covered. Non-disclosure agreements were required. Nervous but curious, Mateo agreed. In that room were representatives from private aerospace firms, defense contractors, and research institutions. He demonstrated his prototype live, pushing it beyond safe limits. It didn't fail. The room fell silent. One attendee asked a question that stuck with him. "Have you shared this with NASA?" Mateo shook his head. He hadn't even considered it. Behind the scenes, word began to spread faster than Mateo realized. Engineers talked. Notes were taken. Data was shared discreetly. Within weeks of the forum, Mateo was contacted by an intermediary claiming to represent a U.S. space research organization. The tone was polite, curious, and cautious. They requested detailed schematics and testing logs. In return, they offered technical collaboration. No money, no public credit, just access. Mateo hesitated. He'd never dealt with institutions of that scale, but the idea that his invention could help space missions was intoxicating. Against his instincts, he agreed to share limited data. What followed was silence. Weeks turned into months. Emails went unanswered. Calls were never returned. Then something strange happened. Mateo noticed technical papers appearing online from American labs, discussing energy regulation methods eerily similar to his own. The terminology was different, the structure slightly altered, but the core principles were unmistakable. His ideas were there, just not his name. At first, he thought it was coincidence, but the patterns kept repeating. His heart sank. It felt like watching someone else tell your life story and pretend they invented it. Confused and angry, Mateo reached out again, demanding clarity. This time, he received a brief response. They thanked him for his inspiration and stated that their research had evolved independently. No acknowledgement, no collaboration, just a digital door quietly closing. Friends urged him to move on, to commercialize his work elsewhere. But Mateo couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was happening. His invention wasn't being rejected. It was being absorbed. And whatever organization was behind it didn't want public attention on where the original ideas came from. The turning point came when a former aerospace engineer contacted Mateo anonymously. The message was simple. Your system was tested in a simulation environment designed for deep space probes. Attached were redacted documents showing performance graphs identical to Mateo's results. The engineer warned him not to go public recklessly. Powerful institutions, they said, didn't like narratives that challenged their image of technological dominance. Mateo barely slept that night. He wasn't just dealing with intellectual theft. He was facing the reality that his work had implications far beyond personal recognition. Why would an organization like NASA or its partners want to distance themselves from a Filipino inventor working alone? According to insiders, optics mattered. Funding depended on perception. Admitting that a critical breakthrough came from outside established pipelines from a developing country with limited infrastructure complicated the story lawmakers liked to tell. Innovation was supposed to flow in one direction. Mateo's invention disrupted that narrative. It suggested brilliance wasn't confined to elite institutions. And that idea, some believed, was more threatening than any technical failure. Rather than retreat, Mateo made a risky decision. He began quietly collaborating with independent researchers across Asia and Europe. No patents yet, no press releases, just shared experiments and peer verification. Over time, multiple labs replicated his results. The adaptive resonant energy core proved scalable, resilient, and remarkably efficient. Some researchers openly speculated about its applications in long-duration space missions, lunar habitats, and even Mars rovers. The invention Mateo built to survive typhoons could survive the vacuum of space. And now, too many people knew for it to disappear again. As interest grew, so did pressure. Mateo received warnings, subtle at first, then more direct. Legal language appeared in emails. Questions about export restrictions and national security were raised. He realized the line between innovation and geopolitics was thinner than he'd ever imagined. Still, he refused to abandon his work. Instead of selling it outright, he chose transparency. He documented everything, his process, his failures, his data, and released it through open academic channels. If his invention was going to be used, the world would know where it came from. The response was explosive. Engineers praised the design. Students studied it. Media outlets began asking uncomfortable questions about how many other breakthroughs have been quietly absorbed without credit. While no official statements were made, NASA-affiliated researchers suddenly became more cautious in public discussions. Mentions of similar systems declined. It was as if an invisible curtain had been pulled back, revealing a system that preferred quiet assimilation over open acknowledgement. Mateo never claimed NASA stole his work outright, but the timeline spoke volumes on its own. Years later, traces of Mateo's concept appeared in publicly released space mission documents. Different names, different diagrams, same underlying logic. The adaptive resin principles were there, optimized and scaled. By then, Mateo had moved on from chasing recognition. He focused on applying his technology to Earth, improving power stability in remote communities, disaster zones, and off-grid regions. Ironically, the same qualities that made his invention valuable for space made it revolutionary for everyday life. And this time, he controlled the narrative. For many Filipinos, Mateo's story became symbolic. It wasn't just about one invention. It was about visibility, about how innovation from the global south is often treated as raw material rather than finished brilliance. Mateo never stood on a global stage accepting awards, but his work quietly reshaped conversations about who gets to be called an innovator. In universities across the Philippines, students studied his papers and saw themselves reflected in his journey, proof that world-changing ideas don't need permission to exist. Critics argue there's no direct evidence of suppression, no official memo admitting wrongdoing. And they're right, institutions rarely leave fingerprints. But the absence of acknowledgement, the timing of research releases, and the sudden silence tell a story of their own. In innovation, credit isn't just about ego. It's about power, funding, and influence. Mateo Reyes disrupted an ecosystem that thrives on controlling all three. And in doing so, he exposed how fragile the narrative of technological supremacy really is. Today, Mateo lives a quiet life. He still works, still experiments, still believes in resilient systems. When asked about NASA, he chooses his words carefully. He doesn't accuse. He doesn't speculate. He simply says this: ideas don't belong to borders. And perhaps that's the most radical part of the story. Not the invention itself, but the belief that innovation should be shared, not owned by the loudest or richest voice in the room. So, did NASA really not want you to know about this Filipino invention? The truth is more complicated and more unsettling. It's not about hiding secrets behind locked doors. It's about deciding which stories get amplified and which are quietly rewritten. Mateo's invention survived not because it was protected, but because it was too strong to erase. And that might be the real lesson here. The most powerful ideas don't ask for recognition. They force it. As space exploration enters a new era, with private companies and international collaborations reshaping the landscape, stories like Mateo's matter more than ever. They remind us that innovation isn't centralized. It's scattered, often invisible, waiting in places the world isn't looking. Somewhere right now, another inventor is building something extraordinary in a garage, a classroom, or a small workshop. The question isn't whether their idea will work. It's whether the world will be ready to acknowledge where it came from. In the end, Mateo never set out to challenge NASA, expose institutions, or rewrite history. He just wanted power systems that didn't fail when people needed them most. That purpose guided every decision he made. And maybe that's why his invention was so threatening. It wasn't driven by profit or prestige. It was driven by necessity. And necessity, unlike politics, doesn't care who gets the credit. When future missions travel farther and stay longer in space, relying on systems that adapt instead of break, Mateo's fingerprints may be there, whether acknowledged or not. His story lives in every design that prioritizes resilience over perfection. And while official histories may never mention his name, the impact of his work is already written into the fabric of modern engineering. This isn't a story about villains and heroes. It's a story about systems, how they reward familiarity and overlook the unfamiliar, how brilliance can be quietly borrowed when it doesn't fit the expected narrative, and how truth has a way of resurfacing, no matter how deep it's buried. Mateo Reyes didn't win a public battle, but he changed the game simply by refusing to disappear. Perhaps the most shocking part of this story isn't that a Filipino invention rivaled space agency technology. It's that so many people find that surprising at all. Talent has never been limited by geography. Only recognition has. Mateo's journey challenges us to rethink where we look for innovation and who we're willing to believe when we find it. As viewers, consumers, and citizens, we play a role too. The stories we share, the voices we amplify, and the assumptions we question all shape the future of innovation. Mateo's story isn't just history. It's a warning and an invitation to look beyond the headlines and ask who might be missing from them. Because somewhere between silence and credit lies the truth. And sometimes the most important discoveries aren't the ones announced at press conferences, but the ones that quietly change everything while no one is watching. If this story surprised you, it should. Not because it's unbelievable, but because it's familiar. It's happened before. And unless we pay attention, it will happen again. The secret Filipino invention wasn't hidden in a vault. It was hidden in plain sight, overlooked, underestimated, until it proved impossible to ignore. And that might be the real shocker of all.